Good evening, you're watching This Week, a weekly news program. The Embassy of India celebrated the 57th anniversary of India's flagship capacity building program, Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, on October 22nd. In Ulaanbaatar city, the event was attended by distinguished guests, including members of parliament, ITC alumnus Demdanyam, and former president of Mongolian Empire, as well as about 100 ITC alumni.
Since its launch in 1964, India's iTech program has been one of the country's most impactful capacity building programs, benefiting over 200,000 professionals. Every year, the government of India offers over 40,000 scholarships for about 400 professional study courses offered by more than 100 premier Indian institutions. These scholarships are granted to successful applicants in 160 partner countries, including Mongolia. In his opening remarks, Ambassador MP Singh underlined how India has always shared with others its knowledge in science, mathematics, astronomy, and innovation, and has been pursuing developmental cooperation over the years. Ambassador Singh also spoke about India's continuous close partnership with Mongolia, its spiritual neighbor, and how India is employing developmental diplomacy to help Mongolia become a self-sustained state, with the government of India providing a soft loan of over $1.23 billion to fund an oil refinery project. India and Mongolia are cooperating not only in economic sectors, but also in IT, health, science and technology, space, education, cybersecurity, renewable energy, and several other sectors.
And so far, this has benefited over 200,000 scholars from about 160 nations in 400 courses in 100 premier institutions. Coming specifically to Mongolia, we have been sending on a scholarship Mongolian students to India, not only students but scholars and trained personnel. And in last 3 decades, we have sent about 3,000 plus. That includes a group of state secretaries. That also includes a group of 25 Ministry of Foreign Affairs officers. And the most recent was a delegation of 18 governors headed by Prime Minister Oyunerdin in the month of December, January of 2019-2020, before the pandemic, for a public governance course. We have, over the period of time, tried to get this incorporated into the newer and emerging technologies areas, mindful of the pandemic that has been going on.
More than 3,000 Mongolian scholars have benefited from iTech program over the last 3 decades. The list of scholarship recipients includes several high-level dignitaries, including members of parliament, members of the constitutional court, province governors, and vice ministers. Member of Parliament Demdanyam, an iTech alum, and Ikhbayar, the third president of Mongolia, highlighted the two countries' historical connections through shared heritage and a strong developmental cooperation.
I am the alumni of 2005 iTech program, and it was my first country to come out from Mongolia. And it was a great experience to get the Indian people the sharing will, and learned a lot from them, and studied with the various countries, young generations together, and still we are now, it's like 16 years connecting each other now, and it's the 57th year that the Indian government initiated this development program. So including Mongolia, there is almost 100 countries included in this program, as my knowledge. So today we are celebrating this day, and every year. So it's great opportunity to connect and making some network between various different interest people and between the various area, including this private industries and government people and the NGOs and the professionals, engineers and social workers.
In the last 3 years, a special group courses were organized for Mongolia, which have been offered to 12 state secretaries, 18 officers from the National Emergency Management Agency, 25 Mongolian Armed Forces officers, and a group of 18 governors led by current Prime Minister Oyongerten. Special training has also been provided to 25 officers from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and 35 officials from Mongol Refinery. Demdenim, along with 2 other ITEC beneficiaries, shared their experiences with the program in India and also how the knowledge gained from premier Indian institutions is now contributing toward developmental progress in Mongolia. A brief cultural program featuring the Mörönkhor, traditional throat singing and folk dance performances, as well as Hindi songs and Bollywood performances, were also organized.
The Embassy of Mongolia in the Kingdom of Sweden, which also works with the governments of nearby countries like Estonia, organized a Mongolian exhibition at a major Estonian museum.
The Mongolian Culture and History exhibition Mandala, the Temple of Sacred Tantra, dedicated to the 30th anniversary of Mongolia-Estonia diplomatic relations, was organized by the Embassy of Mongolia in Sweden at the Estonian National Museum, with support from the University of Tartu, the university's Center for Oriental Studies, and the Estonian Oriental Society. An opening ceremony for the exhibition was held on October 20th. The ceremony was attended by the Ambassador of Mongolia to Sweden, Jan Bazar, and the rector of the University of Tartu delivered an opening speech.
Absolutely very grateful and thankful for choosing the university and Tartu specifically the place to exhibit this extremely important exhibition. And our university, which is the old one even in Western Europe, is very much interested in the region and specifically also for Mongolia, because we have very many things in common, like our last 30 years, how to develop the state, how to develop our society. So that once more I'm really extremely thankful for making this exhibition happen in Estonia, and I think that it will be not the last one for our countries and for our cooperation. Yeah.
Presentations were given by researchers from the Center for Oriental Studies on the theories of the 3 bodies of the Buddha and by Dr. Professor Mungonchimuk from Bern University on new traditions of Mongolia's Tsam ritual dance. This year marks the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and Estonia. During the 2021 United Nations General Assembly, President of Mongolia Khurelsukh met with then President of Estonia Kersti Kaljulaid. The 2 sides discussed the celebration of the anniversary and the importance of expanding mutual cooperation.
The Gem Factory was founded in cooperation between the Mongolian National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the German Chamber of Commerce. Local Seabuckthorn processing will expand the range of Seabuckthorn products that can be produced domestically and increase the income of Seabuckthorn growers.
Ost Province is the nation's leader in the cultivation of Seabuckthorn. Up until now, it has not been easy to locally produce a wide variety of products made from the berry. Seabuckthorn is also called Gobi Gold.
First of all, we will start with the production of Seabuckthorn gem. The gem will be made with a mixture of red currants and black currants. The packaging will be small and disposable. In the future, we strive to create a variety of packaging in accordance with consumer needs.
The goal of the factory is to stop the export of raw materials and to produce and sell finished products domestically. The Seabuckthorn complex team at the Ost Province Chamber of Commerce is working to increase market turnover of their products. A Seabuckthorn orchard has been created, and more than 10 new varieties of Seabuckthorn and other fruits have been brought in from Russia for testing and growing. Special attention is being paid to improving the quality of Seabuckthorn being grown in Ost Province.
It's been 3 months since Morning Street opened in Ulaanbaatar's Sukhvatar district. On Monday, a new art installation was unveiled on Morning Street.
Morning Street has become a favorite destination for teenagers and young people in Ulaanbaatar. On Monday, a statue called a hug was unveiled for Morning Street visitors.
The lack of accommodation for people with special needs or developmental issues has become a major social problem. In some cases, children become the victims of discrimination. We created a statue that reminds us that every child should be protected despite all odds. Every nation should cherish their family values and support their younger generation.
Plans are being developed to hold future activities and events promoting child protection here on Morning Street, near the statue.
Every child should be protected by their guardians. This is the main meaning of the statue. The idea behind the statue coincides with the child protection activities planned by the capital city. We are planning to hold our child protection events near the statue.
Marshall Club has 36 members. They plan to organize other positive events in the future. The Deputy Governor of Ulaanbaatar said that events dedicated to youth development will be supported and appreciated.
The National Museum of Mongolia opens a VR and AR exhibition themed the Great Mongol Empire.
These exhibits of ancient times restored with virtual reality technology look like as if the exhibition visitors are time traveling. In addition, it allows us to demonstrate the great history of the Mongol Empire during this time of the pandemic.
Today we are launching a digital museum exhibition in collaboration with Ziv Contents. We are very happy that we are opening this digital content of the Great Mongol Empire and promoting our rich history to an international audience and visitors despite the difficult times of the pandemic and closed borders. Today we are launching a digital museum exhibition in collaboration with Ziv Contents. We are very happy that we are opening this digital contents of the Great Mongol Empire and promoting our rich history to an international audience and visitors, despite the difficult times of the pandemic and closed borders. Mongolia is proud of its rich history of 13th and 14th century that makes us unique. We made our exhibition of that period into a digital history. It's a step forward in promoting Mongolia to the world.
Artificial reality technology allows us to demonstrate video contents of the exhibits and with all explanations. The Mongol Empire of the 13th and 14th century was the largest contiguous land empire in history and the second largest empire by landmass, second only to the British Empire. Originating in Mongolia in East Asia, the Mongol Empire at its height stretched from the Sea of Japan to parts of Eastern Europe, extending northward into parts of the Arctic, eastward and southward into the Indian subcontinent, mainland Southeast Asia and the Iranian plateau, and westward as far as the Levant and the Carpathian Mountains.
The Minister of Education and Science in Hamaklang visited Bayulgi province on the 24th of October during a working visit and got acquainted with the activities of some educational institutions.
The minister also met with the management of relevant organizations, school and kindergarten teachers, staff and citizens. During the meeting held at the Music and Drama Theatre of Ulgi City, the parliament and government members provided information on the policy and activities being implemented in the education sector and exchanged views on the current issues and measures to be taken in that sector of Bayungulgi province. For the last 10 years, the province has ranked last among all Mongolian regions according to the results of the general admission test. According to the minister, this is due to the fact that there is no bilingual education program.
Bayulgi province is the province that should be given the most attention during the education transition. Neither our ministry nor the Bayulgi Education Department have been able to do that. There are a lot of problems today, but we still have some hope. We have a good foundation of teachers and managers.
In Bayulgi, with a predominantly Kazakh population, local teachers suggest that a bilingual curriculum be approved and implemented, as students who come from the province to state universities spend their first year to get adapted to the Mongolian language textbooks and manuals. Minister Inha Maklang stated that the ministry will pay special attention to this issue in the future and will introduce good practices of countries like Switzerland, where citizens speak several different languages in different areas of the country.
For the first time in history, Mongolian high school students wrote the Charter of the United Nations in the Mongolian script. 37 students representing 21 provinces wrote the Charter of the United Nations, which consists of 111 articles with the paintbrush on A3 paper. The ceremony for presenting this gift to the United Nations was held at the Children's Creative Center.
MNB has been reporting on numerous events that are being organized in the framework of the 60th anniversary of Mongolia's accession to the UN. Today at the Children's Creative Center, Mongolian children are presenting the Charter of the UN written in the Mongolian script as a gift to the UN.
This project was initiated by the leader of the Mongolian Audio and Visuals Foundation, Mr. Baisakhle, in April. We've selected 37 students from all around Mongolia and wrote the Charter of the United Nations in the Mongolian script. The project ran for 4 months and it took us a lot of time to transport the paper from one province to another. The ceremony to present a single copy of the Charter of the United Nations written in the Mongolian calligraphy by children to the United Nations is being held today. Recently, our youth has shown a renewed interest in the Mongolian script and culture. Based on this, we plotted the size of this project and held an online training course for children. Through the efforts of these children, teachers from the countryside and a lot of different people, we are successfully presenting the Charter of the United Nations written in the Mongolian script to the United Nations, which has never been done before.
Students who have worked on this project also shared their thoughts on taking part at this project.
I'm very glad to have been part of this project. My father taught me calligraphy 10 months ago during quarantine. I've trained with a paintbrush every evening. The part that I wrote was replaced a few times, so it took me a month or 2 in order to write it more decently. I sketched a page or half page of it on normal paper and wrote it on the book later. I have participated in this project as the sole representative from Ofs province. Education Culture Arts Center teacher Nislilhu, a Mongolian language and literature teacher of the General Education School in Narambolok district, Naramho, have been teaching me calligraphy for over 3 years now, and I'm very glad to have taken part in this project.
The Children's Creative Center presentation ceremony for the Charter of the UN, written by students in the Mongolian script, was held for the commemoration of the 60th anniversary of Mongolia's accession to the UN.
Mothers, students, and unemployed people can freely access different courses on language, tailoring, and other professional skills at lifelong education centers that operate in every district.
Seokjulma worked in a law firm for 10 years. She took extended maternity leave 5 years ago. Instead of sitting at home, she attended this center to study tailoring.
I'm currently looking after my child at home. I had received some information about this center from a Facebook group. This is my 4th time visiting this class, which will run for 1 month. I'm currently learning about basic tailoring techniques and how to make a traditional costume doll.
Mothers who are on maternity leave like Seokjulma could also take part in these lessons. Lifelong education centers are located in every district.
As of now, we have 4 to 5 active students in our office, and there are 40 to 50 people who are successfully taking online lessons.
Around 7,000 people attended this center this year. Not only do these centers teach tailoring, but they also help with employment guidance. Adults and children with an education backlog who are unable to enroll in schools can study and get their certificate of complete secondary education from this center.
Lifelong education centers cooperate with a number of organizations. People enroll for lifelong classes either through our website or their respective hara. Organizations participate in our tailoring, Mongolian script, and office program classes. We also have classes on English and Chinese languages, education recovery, and writing. We are working on providing lifelong education and development opportunities for everyone.
These centers also provide classes on using emongolia.com for seniors so that they won't have to stand in long queues for banking and public services.
Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.